Humans aren't born out of laying around on their asses. We've been born out of conquering a world. We're the dominant species. We built all this. We're powerful, and we're beautiful, and we're ready to build the next level of civilization in God's plan. But you must stop bowing to those who want to make you a victim. You must become the victor. If you love God and you want to build a pro-human future, then you are an enemy of the New World Order and Satanism. They want us shut down because we have the Spirit. I'm jacked into the source. I know the secret, and I want to see you empowered. But you have to believe in yourself first. This is the truth, and everyone knows it.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's hard to believe that we're at this point and that the story is real, but it is. We're going to be talking about Margarita Gate. Yes, I'm going to let that sink in for a moment. Margarita Gate. So for those who don't know, let me give you a brief recap. The Democrats are in a very, very, very bad place right now. They lost the 2024 election. They lost the House. They lost the Senate. They lost the presidency. Their approval rating is at an all-time low, and they're really trying to find where they need to go for the future. They need to find a leader. They don't have a leader at this moment. And so everyone is sort of vying to take center stage and get attention and to become the next Donald Trump for the Democrats. However, the Democrats have a problem. They have been dragged so far to the left that they don't know their ass from a hole in the ground. And so what the senator of Maryland decided to do is to make a massive international issue out of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who was an illegal in this country, a member of MS-13, a wife beater. You know, we're finding out bits and pieces about this guy's life. A guy who really couldn't speak English very well at all. He has to have a translator in El Salvador. What, by the way, he's from El Salvador. The initial story is that he wasn't from El Salvador. So this guy who can barely speak English, didn't have a license, but was driving across state lines, picking people up in Texas and taking them to Maryland. So this guy's a human trafficker. This has been found out. This is a guy that is part of MS-13, a gang member, and this is the guy that the Democrats want to make their next civil rights hero. This is the guy that they are going to desperately attempt to rehabilitate, bring back into the country. They're going to try to make this guy a hero. That's what they've been doing. The initial narrative was that this guy was a family man. This guy was not a gang member. He had never done anything illegal. He was a good immigrant. He was here legally. That was the initial thing. He was here legally. He was part of a union, a working man, a family man. Now, of course, that's the narrative. That's the original narrative. And that's how it started, and here's how it is now. Senator Chris Van Hollen on Margarita Gate. Neither of us touched the drinks. So this freak, this guy who honestly should be charged with a myriad of crimes, flying to El Salvador, demanding things from their government, trying to meet with a terrorist and get them to release him. Like, you have this foreign politician going and making demands on the street of this other government. This guy should be arrested and charged for a myriad of things. But he posted a picture that he thought was going to win him all the brownie points of him sitting down at a table with Kilmar Abrego Garcia, which all the left was saying that this guy was dead at this point. This guy was dead. He had been tortured. The guy looked pretty good for being tortured, but the White House came out with a statement. Well, it's a statement. It's not really so many words. It says, "We are not the same." Sound like they wrote a paragraph. It says, "We are not the same." So this is the picture. This is the picture before the margaritas arrived. This is the picture of the Democrat senator with the MS-13 criminal gang member. And this is the picture of Donald Trump with the woman whose daughter was brutally raped and murdered by an illegal in Maryland. She's a Maryland resident. So yes, you heard that correctly. By the way, this woman's story is absolutely horrific. And apparently, Senator Van Hollen didn't call this woman once. Didn't offer her a word of remote, like, "I'm so sorry, we're going to do something." No, nothing. But this freak will fly to El Salvador and make an embarrassment of this country to do this for this criminal illegal gang member because he thinks it's a political win. And so this is where the Democrat Party is.
Now I just want to take a moment. I hadn't planned to do this, but as I was landing on the airplane, I got a transcript of some questions President Trump was asked at the White House today about what I would call Margarita Gate. I don't know if you guys have been following this, but President Bukele, after I met with Kilmar, did this tweet showing us at a table with these two glasses. So here's what happened. When I first sat down with Kilmar, we just had glasses of water on the table. I think maybe some coffee. And as we were talking, one of the government people came over and deposited two other glasses on the table with ice, and I don't know if it was salt or sugar around the top, but they look like margaritas. And if you look at the one they put in front of Kilmar, it actually had a little less liquid than the one in front of me, to try to make it look, I assume, like he drank out of it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's an El Salvadorian conspiracy. They brought his liquid with a little bit less than mine. Oh, my God. Oh, man. And so all of this fucking freak, this absolute loser, is in a position where he's sitting across the table from an illegal criminal, wife-beater, human-smuggling alien. He's an illegal. He's part of MS-13. He's a gang member. He should never have been in this country. This Democrat, who fancies himself as some kind of civil rights icon, is sitting across from the table. And if this is true, that they didn't order those margaritas, and that Bukele decided that he was going to just send him those drinks, that was a master stroke. That was absolutely brilliant. But here's the thing. Although that could have been avoided if you weren't in El Salvador making ridiculous demands to meet with a terrorist. You discredited this country. I mean, you can't really discredit yourself. You're a Democrat. You guys are pro-pedophile. You guys are pro-terrorist. You guys are pro-crime. You really don't have any morals or principles to speak of at all. But you somehow turn this from something that was bad into something that was worse. Because whether it was intentional or not, that photo op is you sitting across from an illegal alien with drinks on the table, not just water, margaritas, and you chose to sit there. You chose to do that.
Let me just be very clear. Neither of us touched the drinks that were in front of us. And if you want to play a little Sherlock Holmes, I'll tell you how you can know that. So if you look at the video or the picture I sent out from the beginning of our meeting, you'll see there are no...
So now this guy's going to spend another minute talking about how, well, here's how you can tell that we didn't. No, you've lost. I don't need to hear another word from you. You lost. You have turned this into a spectacle. You were thinking it was going to be a spectacle in your favor. Now you're well, I didn't inhale. I didn't take a sip. I didn't. You have lost. And you know what? You deserve to lose. You deserve to lose because you're a terrible person. You've been caught and exposed and humiliated. And you know what? It's so abundantly clear. Like, look at this. So here's what Bukele posted. They brought drinks. Yeah, it makes you look terrible. Now, it could be true that you didn't have a single sip. Doesn't matter. The photo op is there. This illegal criminal gang member. Here's a good question. Why is a U.S. senator meeting with a foreign illegal MS-13 gang member who violently abused his wife and broke into our country? That's a good question. Why is Senator Van Hollen having drinks with a wife-beating, human child organ trafficker when he couldn't lift a? I mean, like people are asking the real questions. This picture looks bad. And you set yourself up for this. I bet Bukele was like, yeah, we're not going to let him in. Wait. Actually, let's do it. And let's give him a couple drinks. The reality is that you're only in this situation because you allowed yourself to be in this situation. I imagine that when you heard that you could get an interview with this terrorist, you were probably so beside. You probably got a chub in your pants. You're like, yeah, this is the power that I wield. And the ultimate prize in this is that I get to see you, and everyone gets to see you as what you are. This photo is something that you would expect to be AI generated. It's so perfect. It just exemplifies you're having this nice, lush meal with all these drinks and niceties with a terrorist. This couldn't have been planned better if Trump did it himself. So now we're at Margarita Gate. And it's so good. It's so good. These people on the left. I want to make something perfectly clear. The reason the left identifies with these terrorists, with these criminals, with these pedophiles, with all these people, the reason why they identify, because some people are confused by this. And to be fair, I've been confused at times about why they do this, why they are part of this. The truth is that these people on the left, they see themselves with the criminals. They identify with the criminals. On one hand, they understand that there will be a time where they may be held accountable. And so they want to go super light on the criminals so that if they're ever caught, that there's not really going to be any ramifications for them. On top of that, even if they don't think they're ever going to be caught, they identify with the pedophile. They identify with the criminal. They identify with the people who are committing crimes. And to them, They think about it as, I just haven't found my moment to allow me to emotionally and rationally justify this. That's the truth of it. They want the reason why they support Luigi Mangione is because they're all just looking for their moment. They're all looking for their moment where they can commit a crime or commit some act of just profane evil that is beyond the evil that they usually exude, and that they can use to justify it. And so in the case of Carmelo Anthony, this kid in cold blood murders another kid. He is aggressive, he brings a knife there, is not where he's supposed to be, kills somebody in cold blood. What happens? Well, this guy gets $500,000. He's supported. Because the people look at that and go, well, I want to be able to do that. I'm going to reward this person because I may find myself in a situation and I want the culture, I want the idea to be, if I do that, if I give in to this evil, that I'm going to be rewarded instead of punished. Now, the reality is that that's not the world that we live in. This guy, Carmelo Anthony, is going to go to jail for the rest of his life. It's an open and shut case. I bet you there's going to be video evidence of what happened, including eyewitness testimony. It's going to be an open and shut case. This guy is going to jail for the rest of his life, at least hopefully. But it doesn't change the fact that they give this person money and they say free this person because they want to be able to commit crimes. Don't doubt me on this. Now, in the case of this corrupt Democrat retard, he has no problem with illegals killing and violating American citizens. It's not because he wants to do that. No, it's because he wants to continue the pipeline of illegal criminal aliens into the country because he thinks it's going to give him more power. That they're going to be able to translate that into votes because they're going to try to, under the rug, make these people able to vote. Give them IDs, give them anything that they need to get them to vote. And of course, no one's going to vote for somebody that's trying to deport you if you're an illegal. But Donald Trump is coming along and saying, no, we're not doing that. And that's why he's there. This is a power stunt. It's a power play. And it backfired. This guy tried to do something bad that was against America and against the American people. And it backfired. And good. And look at this smug prick. This guy should be in the El Salvadorian prison. My only regret is that Trump didn't be like, oh, President Bukele, if you could do us a favor, this treasonous Democrat decided that he was going to go down there and violate the Logan Act. He's a criminal now. You might want to arrest him. I wouldn't mind if you arrested him. We have the biggest arrest at this point, but you could take one for the team. Like, this guy is just genuinely awful, and the Democrats need to get people like this out, and they need to get people like AOC and Bernie Sanders out. They need to become the party of common sense. They just do. So that way we can have differences on policy rather than on morality. Because the morality disagreement, the morality divide is so obnoxious and so ridiculous. And these people are going mask off evil, and it's not something that's going to help anyone in the long run. So, ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.